And we're live.
La 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 la.
Oh, we got an elf on. We got an elf on the show.
I'm cracking jokes on because I'm shorter than you.
Yeah.
Come on, man. Okay, Skip. If I was an elf, what would you give me for Christmas? What should I ask for Christmas?
Lots of money, and maybe some Raptors wins would be good too.
I would ask for the Raptors to get back and forth since I already put money on that. So money, Raptors equals yes. That's what I want. Good afternoon, good morning, good evening, ladies and gentlemen, wherever you are, whatever time it is for you right now. Just know that you are locked in until the point with
Skip
and the King. This is our Christmas episode. We hope you guys enjoy it. You guys know what to do. Go find us Apple, Spotify, Amazon, Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, and YouTube, which is hopefully where you're watching us right now. If not, you're bootlegging and you owe us some money. So, Skip, how you doing, man? What are you doing for the holidays? You good?
I'm going out of town to see my family, trying to avoid this horrible winter storm that's coming. Unfortunately, I don't have any Christmas gear, so you're gonna have to settle for the two red shirts behind me. That's about all I got for you. But
I feel
yeah,
like
you're like red and green all over. Like you're good.
Oh, dude, are you kidding me? I love this time of year. Even as a Muslim guy, I love this time of year. This is the greatest for me. And speaking of things that are great and maybe not so great, Skip, I gotta ask you, my man.
Mm-hmm.
Can you explain to everybody out there? I'm pretty sure there's a lot of hardcore Raptors fans that understand this, but there's a lot of fair weather fans that don't understand this. So can you explain the Masai's idea of the Vision 6'9" positionless basketball? Because that's what you guys clicked on.
Yeah, well, just real quick, I think we've been over it a lot, so I'm not going to go deep. But basically, I think the concept was you find a model of a player that you really like, a guy that you think is elite at all aspects of the game, right? A guy who can be a playmaker, a guy who can be a scorer, a guy who can be a rebounder, a guy who can play great defense. And you find that template of a player, and you try to build an entire team full of that template of player. So the idea is, at the end of the day, you have a team that can defend at all five positions, and in theory can do all sorts of things on the offensive side of the ball as well, because you're building a version of this one player conceptually, which is in theory the most valuable player on his own, because wings, as we've discussed, are at a premium in the league. The idea of the switchable defense is obviously the big thing that we've talked about. And so it kind of makes more sense on the defensive side of the ball. But I think in theory, if you have the right pieces, the goal was you can still score in a myriad of different ways, right? Because you can get offensive rebounds, you can drive, you can pass, you can shoot in theory if you have the guys for it. But that was the vision for it. Whether it's actually played out that way is a little more questionable, as we're going to get into.
Yes. So now, Skip, my idea of the positionless basketball is what I was thinking. I think it's a great idea.
Yeah.
Honestly, I think it's something that could maybe revolutionize the game, maybe change the game, maybe switch it up from Golden State taking three-pointers all the time. But the other thing I have to ask you is, since its inception very recently, is that effective for the Toronto Raptors currently?
Well, there's a few things that are going on. Right now, what we're seeing is the downside of Vision 6'9". In the 6-game losing streak recently, and sort of throughout this early part of this season, this 22-23 season, we're seeing all of the flaws of that system be kind of foregrounded, right? Because you got all these forwards who can do all these specific forwardy things, but you don't have a center in there who can defensive rebound. You don't have a guy in there who can play make. You don't have that traditional point guard who's making passes all over the floor. You don't have shooting, and that's the main thing. Is like, if you're gonna build around a bunch of 6'9" dudes, like those guys generally aren't great shooters. There's exceptions. There are certain players who can pair those two skill sets very well, but generally we're looking at guys who are in that power forward mold. You're not going to be looking at an elite shooter. And the Raptors this year don't have any shooting, and we've seen that over and over again from this roster. And even last year, the shooting was better last year, but we're still a middle of the pack team from three. So what we're seeing is defensive lapses. So the other thing about the Vision 6'9" is all the arms, right? On defense, you can get a lot of deflections, you get a lot of turnovers, you can get out in transition. But what we've seen this year is they're definitely still great at forcing turnovers, but when they don't force a turnover, how do you stop the guy? Because you don't have a center to guard the lane. You don't have your defense is scrambling already, so you have trouble getting out to three-point shooters who are open. You're getting killed on open threes. So we're seeing all these defensive breakdowns, which are kind of built into the scheme. And then on the offensive side of the ball, we're seeing a team that can only score if they're not scoring in transition. They're basically an ISO team, and they don't have the players for that. These guys, Vision 6'9" or not, other than Pascal Siakam, they don't have guys who can get the job done at a consistent elite level. They're one of the worst isolation teams in the league, but they also take one of the most amount of isolation possessions. So that's not a good recipe for success.
Skip, may I?
Yeah.
For a second here? Okay. You said multiple things there that we all can touch on, and I'm pretty sure it's going to bother some people. But, okay. You mentioned there about the 6'9", Division 6'9" on defense.
Yeah.
Now, I think we all understand there is a hole on the defensive end when it comes down to the paint, right? Yeah. We also understand that they are gambling a lot more than they should by leaving open.
Should is interesting because I think it's part of the scheme, but go on.
Yes, but that's also on their end too, on offense, to gamble for 3-point shooting, but they have not been that well on 3-point shooting. Hold on a second.
Yeah, we're near the bottom of the league in attempts. We're near the bottom of the league in percentage.
Hold on a second.
Oh, here we go.
Hello, Lithuania. Can I speak to Arturas? Thank you. Yo, Art, can you pull up that graphic to show where the Raptors rank in the league when it comes to these stats? All right, thank you. I love you. I love you too. Yeah, okay. We'll talk soon. Merry Christmas, brother. Okay. Goodbye. Skip. The Raptors are ranked 30th when it comes to 3-pointers.
Yeah.
Okay. They're ranked 30th, and it's kind of like hinging. It's kind of like twitching. Like you. I shouldn't say that word right now. It might be too. But it's kind of bothersome that the Raps can't shoot. They are killing it with points in the paint. There is no question. Now, if they can get that 3-point shot going, man. I'm sorry, I'm on a rant here, but Skip, can you tell me who really needs to step up from the 3-point range?
Well, I mean, that's sort of getting away from the position conversation a little bit. I think.
Well, okay. Well, there are guys that can shoot the ball.
Yeah, okay? I mean, we all know their names. We all know Gary Trent and Freddie have not been up to par this year. But the bottom line is, when you're building with 6'9" guys, the shooting, again, it was better last year because you had 3 guys who were shooting at a pretty high level, but it wasn't exactly good. It was, let's just see here if I got the stats up right now. The year, so last year's.
When it comes to 3-point,
yeah, they shot
0.6.
Yeah, so they shot 350, if I'm doing the math, 348 or something, which is not amazing. Like, it's better than the shooting this year. The bottom line is, to get back to the 6'9" conversation, is you have to start to think about, can you combine those two things? Do you want to completely, I've seen Andrew Reese talk about this in our private chat. Do you want to completely punt threes? Do you want to completely punt on threes and just say, you know what, we're a paint team, this is what we do well? And that's a really tough thing to do in the NBA, because you're basically spotting the other team 20, 30 points if you do that, because three-pointers, as we all know, are worth more than twos. If you're going to go be trading baskets, you got to win that margin of error by X number more baskets if you're not taking those threes. So that's sort of another sort of built-in flaw to the system, is it works if your 6'9" guys are great shooters. If your 6'9" guys aren't great shooters, can you afford to punt on the three-point shot altogether?
Okay, Skip, before I get into that, how do I look?
You're looking good. You're looking Christmassy.
You guys want to look as crisp and as fresh as me, you guys know what to do. We have WeDoLaundry.ca. You guys can go in there. They come to your door. They pick up your clothing. They wash. They fold. They dry. Bring it right back to your door. And if you use the promo code to the point, you get 5% off, right? And they'll take care of you. So I know it's the Christmas time and everybody wants to, it's the holidays. Everybody wants to get ready and everybody wants to look sweet for their family get-togethers. That's awesome. Just remember, go to WeDoLaundry.ca. Use the promo code. Skip, what's the promo code?
To the point.
There we go. 5% off, and you're taken care of. Okay, Skip. I got to address something when it comes to the Raptors. Yeah, their three-point shooting has been, I think we're that deep into this podcast where I can say shit.
Okay. Yeah.
It's been atrocious, right?
Yep.
But
no argument here.
Don't argue with me. But I am arguing with you on the positionless basketball. I think positionless basketball can help the team and make them better from who they are. But there are some, you said on our, I think it was our last episode, where you did mention that they might need, and you just did say it, that they might need a traditional center and a traditional point guard. Now, let's face it, okay? I love this guy. Mom, don't do it, okay? Freddie VanVleet, he's not a traditional point guard, right?
Yeah, we've been over this.
Yeah, he's a 2. You know, there are certain guys, like we see the Kem Birches, you know, and we still haven't seen Precious Achiuwa come back yet, okay? So, to fill hopefully that hole soon in the center, yeah, hopefully soon. But there are holes that need to be filled. Now, okay, I'm going off script here, Skip. Do you think we could put, like, I said we. Do you think for the traditional point guard and the traditional center that can be Malachi Flynn and possibly Christian Koloko?
Yeah, if you want to have a great G League team. I mean, no slander to those two. I mean, that was very slanderous what I just said. But, like, the problem is, the problem is, like, yes, those guys can fill that role, but they're not elite NBA players. They're not high-level NBA players. So what you're seeing now is you're seeing the leaks in the Titanic, right? And you're trying to patch them up with whatever you have on board. And it's like, yeah, but we don't have the right pieces to patch these holes. Malachi Flynn, I'm actually a pretty big proponent of him. I think I'm glad he's finally getting a chance to get some run and get, and shooting decently on a team that desperately needs it. And I think Koloko has a lot of upside. But he's young, and Malachi has not been consistently an NBA player up to this point in his career. I think to ask him to be a major contributor, large scale minutes is a big ask. I think I was happy to get him like 15 minutes a game and those spot minutes, like get his shot rolling, that kind of thing. But to ask him to fill this hole he's not the piece that you need to fill. And just to sort of go into this, right?
Go for it.
You talk about role definition in general, right? You talk about a traditional lineup: your point guard, your shooting guard, your small forward, your power forward, your center. These guys all have very specific jobs, right? Your point guard playmakes, your shooting guard scores, your small forward maybe scores, defends a little bit depending on the guy. Power forward and your center, you're banging the paint. That's the model theoretically in the past. And I'm not saying that model is foolproof, that we need to go back all the way to that model, but there's a reason that each of those jobs were distributed to one player. Now you can switch that up a little bit. You can say, okay, we're going to have our point guard be our shooter. We're going to have our power forward be our distributor. But what you can't have is you still need that hierarchy of jobs, right? You still need those jobs to be assigned properly to 5 different positions. The idea of positionless is great if everybody can do all of those things. But I think I said this in the last show, there's only about 10 guys in the league that can do all of those things, right? So if you're looking at your second, third best guy on the roster, like I think Pascal Siakam can do pretty much all of those things.
And so can Scotty.
Well, Scotty, I'm getting to that. That's actually kind of my main point here. So you got Pascal who can do all of those things, but then you need to have that equal distribution of jobs around him. And that's where it's like, okay, well, can we get a traditional playmaker in here? Can we get a traditional big man in here? Or rebounder, or whatever you want to call it. And then you have Scotty, who at this point, he's trying to do all of those things, but he's a young player. He has not perfected any of those skills to the level that he needs to be an elite NBA player, like a high-level NBA player I'm talking about. He's got all the potential in the world, but right now you look at Scotty, you see a mini Pascal Siakam, and a guy who doesn't have a job. And when you talk about role definition, I mean, I think especially for young players, I think this is less true for like veterans.
Wait, skip. Clarify that. A young Pascal? Why?
Well,
what are you talking about?
I just mean
to carry the load.
I just mean in terms of how he functions on offense. He is sort of a poor man's Siakam at this point in his career. He can become a lot more than that. That's very broad. I'm not making a direct comparison between two players. I'm talking about their roles on the team. In terms of
okay.
And remember when Scotty Barnes was drafted and Kendrick Perkins went on national TV and he said, if they're going to be bringing up Scotty Barnes, that means they have to trade Pascal Siakam. And we all laughed and said, like, bull crap, we'll work with this. But as much as I don't think they're actually going to trade Pascal, what he was talking about was this exact conundrum where you have Pascal Siakam is occupying this role. Scotty needs to be in the same role, because when you put him next to Pascal, there's a clash. It doesn't quite work. The pieces aren't there. And that's how you get a team that runs more isolations than any other team in the league and is terrible at them. So that's where the positionless becomes a bit of a problem. And yeah, I don't know. What do you think about that?
Okay, I gotta tell you, like, I've said this multiple times. We've said this multiple times. Scotty is the future of the Toronto Raptors. No question. Him coinciding with Pascal Siakam, I think that could work.
Mm-hmm.
The Vision 6'9" to positionless basketball, honestly, I think that can work if it is done right. Like, I just think
if each guy has his specific role and is excellent in his specific role. Like Chris Boucher is a guy at 6'9", he has a specific role. Pascal Siakam, he is the everyman. He does everything. OG Anunoby, he has
it's like when
defense,
played,
right?
You see me play with guys. Sometimes I got to be the scorer. Sometimes I got to be the passer, right? It just depends on who's on the court at what time and at what you got to do. I get it. I get it.
The
And
real
I'm
problem,
honestly,
okay, the real problem, sorry, I'm gonna jump in. The real problem is that both Pascal and Scotty need to be on ball, especially offensively, but also defensively to some extent. They both function the best when they're the one who's making the plays. That's what I mean about the role overlapping. When Scotty's off ball, he can't use his best skills when he's off ball. I mean, he can cut a little bit, he can rebound a little bit, but he can't initiate like he knows how. And he's gonna have to develop that. That's not just a 6'9" thing. That's a Scotty development thing. But you're talking about
Skip. It's not about the 6'9" thing. It's about a closer thing. The Raptors do not have a closer.
Pascal Siakam. Did you not watch that game the other night against the freaking Knicks?
Yeah.
Scored 52 points.
Yeah. Yeah. But how often is he going to do that? The Raptors need a consistent closer, right?
I think they need. I disagree. I think
that's just based on your point. But like I was saying, okay, the Raps with this positionless basketball, I think it's a genius idea. I think it's great. Shout out to Coach Tim Roach. We can talk about this. We can draw up plays for you guys. But they need to find their chemistry. Like I guess it's basically what you were saying about role definition.
Yeah.
On who's gonna do what? Who's gonna do what? Like we already know what OG's gonna do. He's gonna guard the best player on every team. Yeah. We already know what Boucher's gonna do. He's gonna come off the bench and kick some ass, right? We know Scotty's gonna make his no-look passes, right? We know Pascal's gonna do the spin, right? We know Freddie's gonna pull it from the logo. We know Gary Trent is gonna try to take his shots every freaking time he can.
Well, I think I want to. Sorry.
There needs to be a role definition and like a hierarchy, like you said, about who does what to propel this team further out of the 10th spot. Because Skip, when we look at it, their defense is really good. They're first in steals. They're first in turnovers created. You know, they're
but their defense isn't that good. Their turnover rate's great.
Only at 11th when it comes down to blocks, but still, you know, they have
8th in points allowed and 18th in defensive rating. So the thing is that the defense has not been amazing when they're not forcing turnovers, because again, like
but they're ranked when it comes to offense as opposed to their defense. Mm-hmm. Their defense is better.
In theory, it's not that much better, but they're struggling on both sides of the ball right now. But yeah, at their best, their defense is what their calling card is. We both agree with that.
Yeah.
I just want to get back to the Vision 6-9 thing because that's what this episode is about. I think if you go back.
Are you praying?
No, I'm thinking about where to go with this. Okay. If you throw it back to Dwayne Casey, right? And the way that he ran his teams, it was very much this role definition. It was reining guys in. It was finding, and even that Rudy Gay trade, right? That wasn't a trade that the Raptors won on paper. What they did is they got guys who filled specific holes on their team and were able to fill those gaps and give them a little bit of depth when they were lacking depth. And let DeMar DeRozan cook, obviously, was a huge part of it. I think that's sort of one of Nick Nurse's kind of weaknesses, and where you kind of lean into this with a veteran team. Like, sure, you could maybe do this with the 2019 Raptors, who had all these like all NBA veterans who were really good, talented, multifaceted. It's different when you're bringing up young guys in the league. Young guys kind of just need that very basic, like Jack Armstrong says it all the time. What do you do well that will make you stick in this league? Are you a shooter primarily? Are you a defender primarily? Are you this? And you can't just have one thing, but you should have at least one thing that you're elite at. If you want to stick in the NBA.
Multidimensional, but still.
You have to be multidimensional, but you have to know your specific role. JJ Redick was in the league as a three-point shooter. Tony Allen was in the league as a defender. Like, very basic, like this is the box that you're put in. And as you grow and develop as a player, you can break out of your box. But asking a 22-year-old kid like Scotty Barnes to be 16 different things is not fair to Scotty. He should be in there. He should have a position. He should have a role on the team that he knows every night what is expected out of him. And then people aren't screaming and moaning because he only went 1 for 10 the other night, or he had a bad night. Like, yes, he's going to have a terrible night once in a while. But part of it is that one game he's on ball, one game he's off ball, one game he's the fourth option, one game he's the first option. He's all over the map. And that's the big problem with this team is the positionless means that they're all doing the same thing. They're all the same position, and they're all taking turns. And there's no creation. Yeah. Anyway, I've said my piece.
That kind of sounds like between you, me, and Arturas.
Yeah.
We all have our roles.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, it's and at every job, right? Like, we worked in kitchens. You need the guy who's on the line, or you need the guy who's in the prep kitchen. Like, those are two different things. Yeah. Anyway,
I honestly, Skip, before we head out of here, and by the way, ladies and gentlemen, happy holidays.
Yeah.
We wish you nothing but the best. Skip, do you have anything left to say about being positionless within this organization?
Yeah, I think
because it's kind of tough.
So I think bottom line is talent trumps all, right? I think in the NBA you need elite skills to win. And the positionless thing was cute when it was a market inefficiency, when you're going out there and you're saying, we think we've identified a specific type of player that has more upside perhaps than a different type of player, like than going and drafting a traditional center or whatever. That's cute, that's nice if you're ahead of the curve on that. Once everyone else catches up to you, you're not ahead of the curve on it anymore. And suddenly you're putting yourself in that box where it's like, we want a wing, we want a 6'9" wing. Suddenly that means you're eliminating half of the player pool right off the bat. Like, all the guys who aren't 6'9" suddenly are not part of your player pool. And that is limiting you massively when it comes to drafting, trading, even signing free agents or whatever. I mean, I look at this team, like, you look at Juancho Hernangomez, Thaddeus Young. I mean, I'm not complaining about those guys per se, but like, you're telling me that we couldn't use a guard in that spot, like a guy who could score and play make instead of
Bo Cruz.
Yeah, no disrespect to those two guys, but like, why are we focusing on these 6'9" guys when what we really need is someone who can handle the freaking ball and set guys up for shots. Doesn't matter if he's 5'10" or 6'4" or 7 feet. Like, just get a guy in there. Yeah, so I think talent trumps all, and at the end of the day, the Raptors are going to have to eventually, like, sure, they zigged or they zagged into positionless. They're going to have to zig again and maybe go back to more of a traditional model. And then, these things evolve over time. I'm not saying they won't go back to it at some point when specific players become available that they can utilize in that spot. But you have to go for talent in this league. And to limit the talent that you're bringing in on any level is just to shoot yourself in the foot.
You said it right there. Shout out to my man Eddie Vedder from Pearl Jam. It's evolution, baby.
Yeah. I didn't think you were going there, but okay.
Right. Let's see what they can do this coming year. There's only however many weeks, we're going to see it until the beginning of the new year when it's all really, really snowy outside here in Toronto. And then maybe we can speak further into that. But as of this year, the positionless basketball, we can maybe see it evolve into something better. Mm-hmm. Or if it devolves, maybe we might see it change within the organization and maybe the mentality and the way the Raptors are poised to be a contender. So Skip, on behalf of myself, you, everybody on the To The Point family, anybody that's ever come on, anybody that watches us, we wish you nothing but the best for your holiday. We thank you very much for your love and your support. So good afternoon, good morning, good evening, good night, and
peace.